Okay, are we live?
Not yet.
So I think we're live. It says live.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Monday night Q&As. We are happy to have you guys here. We have a cool topic we're going to talk about today. But before we jump into that topic, we did have a few questions that I just wanted to answer real quick. And then for anyone who's tuned in right now, if you have a question, we are opening the floor. This goes for students, and maybe if you're not a student, but you are watching this, if you have a question, just type it in our chat. Taina will probably see it, and then we'll answer your question through chat. So, or we'll read your question through the chat and then we'll answer it live. So if anybody has any questions, the floor is open. If nobody has questions, then we'll just go straight into the topic we wanted to talk about. And then, if during our conversation you guys, want to chime in or have a question regarding what we're talking about, feel free to ask then. Okay, so we are going to jump into some questions. These questions that I'm going to read are from a student that I already answered the questions on, but through our platform, through our accelerator private platform for our students only. I already answered them for her, but I do think they're good questions. And I think answering some of them live for others is good and could help, some other people out. So I will jump into her questions and we will get started. So one of her first questions is having locks on each of the bedrooms from the inside and out a smart idea in case there's a woman and a man in the same home at the same time for their safety. So yes, it's a good idea, but it's also I'm pretty sure it's required by Airbnb. I don't quote me on that, but we all have locks. Everyone on Jim's team, Jim, all his kids, we all put locks on our Airbnbs, all on the doors, all in the private bedrooms. So each door has a lock that you can lock from the outside when you leave, and then from the inside when you are inside. And they all come with whether it be a keypad or a key. We all have locks. Those are basically a requirement because you just want to make sure that you're safe and everybody else is safe. So those are a requirement. We also have locks on all of our bathrooms. You want to make sure that people can lock themselves inside, especially in shared housing. It's just a really good safety requirement. So that's a simple answer. And then going into like your second part of the question, when you mentioned men and women in the same home, you asked a question after this, and you said, "How would I inform other guests that there will be other guests, of opposite sex in the same home?" And what I answered was, when so just because private rooms may not be something you would book or somewhere you would stay in because you have the concern of staying in the same home with a stranger, whether that be a stranger of a man or a stranger of a woman, just because you might have those concerns doesn't mean that others do. And what I mean by that is when someone books a private room, they are fully aware that there are men and women that could potentially be staying in the other rooms. They're fully aware that it's a shared space and they could be sharing those spaces with men or women. So and a lot of times that's what people are even looking for. So don't feel like high anxiety or high pressure about, worrying about other guests and will they feel comfortable, as a woman staying with a man or a man staying with a woman in different rooms. Because 99.999% of the time, they are fully aware because Airbnb, that's what private rooms are, and people are used to booking them. So that's what I would say about that. Tina, would you add anything to that? Oh, I think you're muted, Tina.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening. No, I think you hit everything on the head. This is not something that most people, I'm sure, have talked about live for everybody to see. So make sure you guys are taking notes. But yes, I believe Airbnb does require locks on bedroom doors. It unless the only time they would not require a lock on every door is if you are doing an entire house. So and that's preference, whatever, but they will ask you when you are setting up your listing. So but everything else that you said was spot on.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, it was that her were those the only her only questions?
Um, yeah, pretty much. She had one more that kind of ties into our topic, but before we get into kind of the topic for the night, did anybody ask a question in the chat box that you saw?
No, no, no questions here. Hi Jay and hi Tony. I see you in the chat. Welcome to tonight's session. Thank you for joining us. And everybody else, if you are here tonight, just send a quick hello in the chat and we'll say hi to you all. We can't see you unless you send a comment. There are no other questions in the chat, but if you do have a question, please feel free to type it in the chat and we will answer it on tonight's session throughout us, talking. And this is a conversation, right? So if you guys have any kind of question, no question is a silly question, we will give you our best answer based on our knowledge and experience so far with Airbnb. And we can't give you too much. We can't give away, the whole entire shebang, but we'll give you a good amount of gems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just out of like, we want to be transparent with all of you. We give you all this information, based on our knowledge and our experience because we want everybody to have the same success. There's more than enough success to go around. So, we're giving you what we got. We want to talk about, and we're going to talk about some things that we hear a lot, and we get a lot of questions about, and that's like, what does it cost to start Airbnb? That's pretty much it. What does it cost to start an Airbnb?
Yeah, in that, like, whenever someone asks me that question, it's such a loaded question, because it's not something that we can give you an exact number on. So I'm excited to kind of get into it today because we can break it down a little bit and talk about it because it's not an easy question.
Yeah, there's different things that go into it, right? There's a pretty much a cost for everything, but if you do it the right way, you'll be making that whatever you're paying worth it in the end, and not losing.
Cut down on costs too.
Yeah, definitely. So there are, off the top of my head, and the biggest ones there are five. The first one is the cost of either learning how to do Airbnb. Like I said in the last live, if you're interested in doing something and doing it great, find somebody else who is being successful and has the results of their success, has the proof of their success, and follow them, do exactly what they're doing, and you will get that same result. That's proven. So first one, the cost of learning paying somebody to teach you how to Airbnb. Learning how to do Airbnb.
Yep, whether that be from us or someone else. You know, that that is definitely, I think, one of the most important costs. Because it's just, and we'll get into it with Ty in a second reason. She's gonna name them off for you. But you save yourself a lot of error, having someone teach you for sure.
Yep. And like I said, if you want to be successful, find somebody else that's successful and do exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
The second one is the cost of doing it wrong. Um, there are a lot of people who, see Airbnb, hear it, and think, I can figure this out. Like it can't be that hard. I can, I'll try it out, see what happens. I'll learn along the way. Um, you can by all means do that, but like don't get it twisted. There's a cost of doing it wrong.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And like, I can't remember. Someone said this to me the other day. It was about something. I think it didn't have anything to do with Airbnb, but they're fixing a vacuum and they got really upset about it. I think I was on the phone with someone. I can't remember who it was, but they were fixing a vacuum and they were like, man, I'm just gonna stop doing this project because I don't have the correct tools to do it. And they said, my dad always taught me that if you don't have the correct tools to do something, just wait until you do because you're probably going to waste your time and you're going to spend double trying to, doing it all over again. Trying
Yeah.
to do it from scratch. So you're definitely saving yourself, like I said, the error. And I've told other people this in the past too, the amount of money you're gonna try and save by not, getting someone to teach you, or maybe, you want to spend that extra couple $1,000, not getting, like say, for instance, our academy, or not getting that coaching, the amount of money you're trying to save, you're probably going to spend anyway because of all of the error you're going to run into. And there are there are lots of errors that you can run into when
Like
it comes to,
all the horror stories that we talked about in October.
yeah.
If you have never experienced that and you go through some of those things, like as a host, it's gonna cost you.
Yeah, big time.
So, and the like you said, the error, like you're not gonna spend. You might be trying to save money, but in the end, because you're going to have to fix it,
Yep.
you're going to have to spend something
Yep.
on top of the mistake that has already been made, right? So,
And then also too, I was on the phone with someone a few months ago that was wanting to sign up for our academy. And they said, and this goes along with the reasoning, the second reason, just the cost of not doing it. And they were like, I have this 3-bedroom home in Houston, and I just don't, I have the money to sign up for your academy. I just don't want to do it yet. And I have this 3-bedroom home in Houston that's just sitting there and I don't really know what to do with it. And I'm like, you are losing so much money with a furnished home that you don't know what to do with, because you're afraid to touch it, because you're afraid to get a mentorship or sign up. Like them, I think I ran the numbers for them because I did the numbers in their area. I think they would make the possibility at that time was like $70 a night for each room. And
mm,
like I think together that's almost like I want to say a close to $40,000 profit that they were going to be making if they just started today. And I think like, and that just broke my heart for them. I wasn't trying to sit there and convince them on the phone, but I just like couldn't help it. Like I was like, you have no idea how much money you're losing. Like you really don't. And it's just crazy. So many people have vacant properties or vacant spaces that they could start, doing Airbnb today, but they just are either scared, and they don't want to start today, or they're wasting time because they're, second guessing themselves, and you're just costing yourself so much money by just not doing it. So huge loss, huge loss.
the third cost is so after you have decided this is what I'm going to do, and you've made the steps to do it, and you take action, it's getting the place, right? What's it going to cost you to get the place, whether you're buying it, whether you're signing a lease? What's that going to cost, the startup cost?
Yeah.
Number three, oh, that was number three. Number four, the cost of furnishing. That's a big one. And number five, how much does it cost per reservation, like to get the house ready, to get the place ready to welcome another guest, before and after guest. So I guess the cost of
Please.
a guest, the cost
Yeah.
of a guest, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. Well, I just want to rewind really quick to what you said when you said the cost of, getting your first place. And people always ask me, well, how much will it cost, to lock in, a lease or to buy? And that is the loaded, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze and it won't come out. All right. So people always ask me that, and I never know. I always know what to say, but it's always it might seem a little confusing. So there is no like exact cost in order to like rent a property. What Jim tells everyone is what you're what you're gonna have to pay to get your first Airbnb is probably first month's rent and security deposit. Sometimes you won't even have to pay security deposit depending on what type of relationship you build with the landlord. So, if your first month's rent is 1,400, that's going to be the cost of, getting your first Airbnb, or it's 1,400 plus a security deposit, which is probably double first month's rent. Then your cost is going to be 2,800. Like it really just depends. And then if you want to buy a place, whatever, we don't really get into the buying process, but your mortgage, if you already own a place, your mortgage is going to be what you're I guess paying a month in order to keep that property. So that would be, I guess, how much it would cost to start an Airbnb, or just to get one, just to get that property under your name and in a lease. And there's no set cost to it. It just really depends on your area. For instance, like if you're in the Florida area, Florida rents are a little bit higher than most areas, but that's okay, because with formula, you're still going to be making 2 to 3 times the rent. It might seem a little overwhelming at first, to look at those price points. Like you might see 2,800 and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's ridiculously high, but you can't let that number scare you away, because like I said, if you're in formula, you're going to be making double or triple that. So it's the same thing as if you're living in somewhere like where I live, Detroit, Michigan. The cost of living is more like your rent could be like 12 or 1,400 there. But you're still going to be making the same 2 to 3 times the rent if you're in formula. So don't let those costs scare you away. Embrace it. Get someone who knows what they're doing to teach you how to do it, so you can understand that and you won't lose money. So that's what it would cost in order to get a lease under you. It really just depends on your area and what properties you're looking at. So
Yeah, and just like I said in the beginning, everything costs. Don't we're not out here, telling you that it's magic, or that, everything, is gonna be free, or it's just gonna fall in your lap. Like there's gonna be a cost. Like it like Rosa said, it differs from place to place, but you will have to either pay rent, first month's rent, and security, or depending on that relationship, just first month's rent. Whatever agreement you have with the landlord. If you are looking to buy, that's a different kind of situation, but there still is a cost. And it is what it is. You have to spend money to make money at the end of the day. That's the truth. And when you do it the right way, you'll make that back. So the cost of the startup is something that is kind of in the back of your mind, because you know at the end of the day, like, I'm going to be successful. I'm following a process, a person that has gotten results, that has proven to get results. And so I know I'm going to get this back. It's the return on my investment is going to be, well worth what I'm spending to get started. So
Yeah.
that's definitely important. Like, think about that. What is going to be your return on the investment that you're making initially? And that'll tell you if it's worth it or not. And if it's not, if what you will be making doesn't match the investment that you're putting in, then then you can make that decision on whether or not it makes sense to you. But that those are the things that you have to think about before you look at just, oh, that's a lot of money. Like, what is going to be your return on your investment?
Yeah, and it's easy to look at it like it's a lot of money, because it is like, it's a scary thing, but like Jim always says, if you are not in a place where you want to be, and you want to stay there, just keep doing what you're doing. If you want to reach a place that you want to reach, that you haven't yet, you have to, there's something that needs to change. So that's a, let that motivate you. You have to start thinking different. You have to, like Tina said, spend money to make money, invest your money in something that's going to grow. It can be scary at first, but all, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say something wrong, but it seems like a risk. But again, it's not a big risk, and it's not as much of a risk. When you
Well,
are
everything has a risk, right? The
right,
one thing that it isn't is a gamble.
right.
Everything is a
There we
risk,
go.
not a gamble.
There we go. There we go. Not a gamble, maybe a risk. But when you have people behind you in a mentorship or a mentor that knows what they're doing, you know, you're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're getting the correct steps in order to make that money back. So that's that. So we won't get too far into that, but that is essentially the answer to that question. How much money do I need to have to 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 start one, as far as getting my name on a lease? So there's that. So the fourth cost, Tiny, you said was furnishing, right?
Yes, furnishing.
Okay, so after you sign your first lease, you pay your first month's rent, security deposit, whatever it is that 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 was agreed upon. The next step is furnishing. Now, this is where people got it all wrong. This is where people lose money, and this is where people fall into a hole and have to dig themselves back up from a hole. And it's not necessary ever to fall into this big hole of debt when it comes to furnishing.
Well, if it wasn't a hole to begin with, right? If you did it
Right.
the way, as far as rent or mortgage or whatever the case is, if you did it the right way the first time and you do it the second time, now you're in a hole.
Right,
Wrong the second time, now you're digging yourself a hole. But
yeah,
you might already be in one, so now it's just bigger.
right. Yeah, so the beautiful part about our academy is that we teach you how to be frugal, where you are only having to spend $300 to $400 a room, maybe furnishing that room. And when you hear three to $400 a room, like, period, there's no three to $400 a room or less. And that is if you do it the way we tell you to, is guaranteed. So, like, for instance, I went to one of my places that I Googled and found as to get beds. I paid $50 for for well, $50 per bed for 4 beds. So I spent $200 total on 4 beds that I got for my new Airbnb that I just got. And so $200 in total. So that's $50. So if I have 4 rooms, that's $50 I just spent on each room. Then I got a desk from I don't remember where I got the desk from, but I found it. I think I found the desk one of my other places. And I paid $35 per desk, and they got delivered late. So I got them for free because they gave but even if I did it,
Another way.
even if I did it, that was about $40 a desk. So that brings my total up to 90 with a bed, a desk. Oh, and my bed frame. I got a bed frame. I got my bed frames for 80. So listen, I'm not 100. I'm not the best at math. So I think I'm under 200 here. And then sheets, possibly curtains. You could get from my place 2 nightstands I got for $20 and a TV for 80. So that's definitely under 400.
And that's not even like essential items.
No,
Like some of the things that put people in a hole is thinking that you have to buy all these things. You have to decorate it, to the ends of the earth, and it has to be immaculate, like from furniture, every single piece of furniture matching,
yeah, like those items that I named, like people will go to Ashley Home Store furniture and get matching nightstands and matching desks, a matching bed frame, and a matching lamp, and et cetera, et cetera. And now you spent $1,200 on a room for
yeah,
what?
to start off with, right? First one getting started, like not even making any money yet. And
Yeah.
you're going above and beyond.
Yeah. So that is a huge mistake, like huge, and it's so not necessary, guys. Like I think me and Tina push this, you know, idea, in fact, not idea, we push this fact down your guys' throat so like much because it's so true. Like we've seen, and these are horror stories to us. Like we've seen people spend like $2,000 on a bedroom, and we're like, what are you doing? And then they're like, I'm in debt. Like I can't,
I had a vision.
yeah. And it looks great, and that's great. We're not saying don't make your Airbnb look great. There are just ways to do it that you don't have to spend $1,200 a bedroom on. Like if you do that in your own home, I don't. But if you do, and you spend $3,000 a room to get all matching furniture, and that just makes you feel good, and that's what you want for your business, good for you, but it's just not necessary for people to be happy and for you to make money. That's all we're saying. So we're not saying you can't do it, or we're not saying you can't do it. We're saying you shouldn't do it. We are saying you shouldn't do it because, like I said, it's not necessary in order for people to be happy, be safe, be clean. It's not necessary. So you can spend those are things, if you want to do, you can do later. But like for Jim always says, like you want to get cash flowing before you start. How Taina was like, you go into a hole. It's just not necessary. And if you want to spend $1,200 a room after you already made $30,000, from your Airbnb, then fine. Like go ahead and do that. Whatever you want to do, because you should upgrade as you start making money. For the things that maybe aren't as nice, or maybe you can start adding decorations that you didn't have before, maybe area rugs, like things like that. But those aren't like the non-essential items come later. And I might be giving away a little bit too much, but that's okay. Because we want to give you we want to be transparent. And furnishing is just one of those things that I feel like a lot of people want to be transparent about, but they just don't. I don't think they know about. They don't know that it's not necessary. So So that's what I have to say about furnishing, Tina. I know I kind of went on a little thing, but it's just, one of
Okay,
those.
again, this is also based on our own experience, right? We've been doing this for a good amount of time, pretty long time. And from our experience doing this, making all those mistakes, hearing about other people's mistakes, this is the best way to do it. This is the way that you will be able to host your guests, be able to host happy guests
Yeah.
as soon as possible so that you are now generating income. Because remember, this is passive income, right? We want to make money off of what we're doing at the end of the day. And if you are waiting for everything to be perfect and everything to be matching and, you know, everything to just be, you go out to a store and you pick this, and this, and it's going to be delivered at this date and whatever the case may be, like now you're kind of putting a limit on your business, on your success. Like now you have to wait to get it up and going. Whereas if you were to go down the street to, a thrift store or a Goodwill, or you even see something that's sitting outside and it's in great condition, and your first thought is no, like I'm waiting on my furniture that I just ordered from, uh furniture warehouse or
Yeah.
rooms to go or whatever the case is. Like you're wasting time. You're when you could be having guests, when you could be starting your business, when you could be making money. So it,
Yeah. So
that's so important. That was one of the biggest costs. Like I said, the five biggest costs of starting an Airbnb, and that's important.
yeah. So there's that. And then what was the last one, Tina? Cleaning.
Number five is the cost of a guest, I would say. So, everybody, when we start welcoming guests, we have to clean the room, we have to clean the house. Whether that's you or somebody else, there is a cost. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest, and this is it's a valid concern. I think a lot of people, when they think Airbnb, their mind jumps to like cleaners. Like I think most people get their homes cleaned professionally. Some people do it themselves, but a lot of people just don't have the time. And like me, I don't clean my own homes to start off, just to get everything going. I do, and then I'll hire a cleaner probably, ASAP as soon as I can. And a lot of people,
before you talk about the cleaner, right? Let's talk about you. You've done it. We've all done it. We've cleaned our own places. And why do we not do them anymore? Why do we not clean our own places anymore?
um Well, there's a lot of reasons why I don't clean my own places, because first of all, I'm not in state anymore. My Airbnbs are
That's
all over the place. New York, Florida, and a big part of, what Jim preaches is automation. And being out and hands off of your business is the way to passive income. And so cleaning is a big piece. I think more than half on your journey, to passive income. Cleaning and automation is huge. So that's a main reason. And then I just don't have the time. I travel and I do all these things and I move around, and I just don't want to be running around my chicken with it like a chicken with my head cut off. I don't want to have my business dictating where I go and what I do. So that's why I do, I hire cleaners because automating my systems is my way to financial freedom.
Yeah. Well, one reason why I don't clean my places is, like Rosa said, my time. There was a point in time when we would go over to the house after every guest, grab all the sheets, all the blankets, wipe everything down, clean the kitchen, the common areas, the whole thing, make sure that everything was ready for the next guest. And then, we host the guest and then we have to do it all over again. And I was doing that, and not being able to spend that time with my husband, with, my family, my parents, our friends, right? That's something that became a priority because it has to get done in order for your business to run, in order for you to welcome another guest, to host another guest, you have to clean the room. And so at the end of the day, that cleaning fee, like we might be able to keep whatever cleaning fee money the guest has paid, but we're now trading what we're making from doing it ourselves for the time that we could be spending enjoying our time, enjoying the people that we could be spending our time with. And that's a cost. That's a big cost, right? This passive income, Airbnb passive income, the reason why we are doing it is so that we have the freedom to spend our time as we like, to spend our time doing what's important to us, not so that we can have to run to a house every other day to get it clean, to make sure that everything is the way that it should be. And for us, for our business to run, that would make us a huge part in that. And passive income, that's kind of the opposite of that. It's the goal is to make money hands off, right? Hands free. Not having to have our hand in everything in order to make money. So the cost of not having a cleaner is the time that we lose doing it ourselves.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, going off of that, like a lot of people don't hire cleaners because they have this myth, and like kind of like what Taina was just saying, like a lot of people want to kind of pocket that cleaner money. Like if you have like a $50 cleaning fee on Airbnb, whatever it is that you have, and you're like, oh, I'll just keep $50 in my pocket per reservation, when like what is $50 to your time, to your peace of mind, to going on vacation and not having to worry about cleaning and not having to run around in the middle of your day in the early morning. So that a lot of what people think is that cleaning is a big cost, or like when people hear professional cleaners, they think like fancy, or they think like they think like a lot of money, which is strange to me. But I get it. If I wasn't in the Airbnb space, I probably would think that too. But what a lot of people, I guess, what a lot of people who aren't doing Airbnb don't know is that you can put a cleaning fee on Airbnb, and cleaning fees cover the cost of the clean. So it's a one-time fee that the guests have to pay when they book, and the amount you pay your cleaner comes out of that. So you're not paying a cleaning fee. You're not paying cleaning fee. It's not coming out of your pocket. Your guest is paying that cleaning fee. It's coming out of their pocket. So they're paying $50 on top of their reservation to have their room cleaned after they check out. And with that $50, you're paying your cleaner. So And it's so, and I feel like I need to explain this kind of because I said this to my boyfriend the other day, and he was like, "Wait, you don't pay for cleanings?" And I was like, "No, like, if there's a cleaning fee." And he's like, "Oh, like, I thought like people pay for a cleaner after every booking." And I'm like, I mean, you do, like, you pay a cleaner, but it's not coming out of your pocket. Like, guest pays for it, and like, if anything is coming out of your pocket per clean, it might be like $10-15 maybe a week, like, for something that you didn't account for. But most of the time, like, you can just claim that from Airbnb. So cleaning costs never really come out of your pocket. And he was like mind blown. Like, I was like, wow, like a lot of people don't really understand that cleaning is, I think, a, it can, in your mind, think like you might think it's a cost when in reality it's really not costing you anything.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that's like the the gem, the hidden gem, right? Like paying for your cleaner. See, if you do it wrong, it's a cost.
Yeah.
If you do it the way that we're doing it, the way that's proven to work, it's it's a cost that you don't that doesn't come out of your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. So you might be paying a cleaner. So if you have five checkouts that month and your cleaning fee is $50, that is $250 that you paid your cleaner for that month. And it's usually a lot more. You usually have around, I'd say about, I mean, depending on if they're long-term guests or short-term guests, I think five was average, probably. I think one time in my peak seasons, I had like 10 checkouts one month. So my cleaning fee is $60. So you guys do that math. And when you see that number, it's kind of scary. But again, like, that's not anything that's coming out of your pocket. And if you want to pocket that money and you want to clean, you do not have to take our advice. But passive income, I think, is the American dream. And it's definitely my dream to be completely hands off. This is definitely Jim's dream. It's definitely Tina's dream. Because I think we're at that point where we all did clean, and we all did, pocket some money at some point because we didn't want to give it away. And during that time, we realized the importance of things, and peace of mind was one of them. And it's just not worth, $250 a month. You can easily give that money away, especially if it doesn't come out of your pocket, to someone that's going to allow you to be hands off. So cleaning is the one of the biggest costs if you don't do it correctly. You don't really know what to do with it. But it's one of the least expensive costs if you do know what you're doing. So that's a gem. That's definitely a gem.
Yeah, for sure. Like, as I mentioned in the beginning, um, the cost of doing it wrong, the cost of figuring it out yourself. How much, so if you did, like, your first thought was, oh, I need to hire a cleaner every single time, right? 5 cleanings a month, maybe more. That would all be coming out of your pocket if you don't do it the correct way. And whatever money you think you're making from hosting is now negative or a lot less than you originally expected, because I'm sure you didn't consider the cost of a cleaner. The other part of it is having a cleaner who is like commercial, if they're a big cleaning company, right? And they get a lot of scheduled cleanings and you're just calling as things happen is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
um, like I can't tell you how many students have this is their first time doing it. They've never done it before. They've asked, um, is this amount too much? And without even looking, I can't even tell you the number, but 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. because because it's I mean, cleaners are like there are many cleaners out there. A good one is hard to find, and they they are like one in a million, like a good cleaner. But also, like you don't have to break your bank to do it. Most of the time, people go based off of what they see other people doing. Like, oh, I can get this much for doing this. I can get this much for doing that. Like, it can get pricey if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So the cost of figuring it out yourself adds up very quickly.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like knowing what to price your cleaners at, so that you're you're being priced fairly, is
Where
definitely.
a good one, right? You if you're doing it yourself, I'm like we have gone through that time where we're learning and finding people who are dependable and have gone through a quite a bit of people before we found somebody who was reliable and dependable. Now, that's gonna happen, but if you know where to find a good, reliable, responsible person to take on that job for you, you're not going to go through 4, 5, 6 people having to pay a fee for a trial run or for them to clean your place only to find out it wasn't done to your standard. And that's money coming out of your pocket every single time that happens. Say you have somebody who doesn't work out, right? They've been with you for a couple of times and they have access to your place and they don't work out. And you have to hire somebody else. Another cost is if things go missing, if you have to replace things, if you have to kind of go through inventory, that's time wasted because you have to bring somebody else in, training somebody else, that's also a cost. And so just like the return on your investment of again finding somebody who's doing it the correct way, a way that is successful, your return on investment will be so much greater than you just winging it and going through all of those trial and error moments.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. All right.
um, I
So,
had there was a question that I saw that tied into what we were talking about, and um, hmm, so I'm getting a lot of questions about the programs that we offer, and going into we're constantly talking about finding something that works, right? Finding somebody who is successful doing what they're doing. And so we do offer 2 programs. One of them is it's I mean it's pretty special. I can for certain say that there's nothing like this out there. And I would get in while you can because the spots
awesome.
are filling up quickly. Um, the programs that we offer, one of them is where we co-host and fully optimize your listings for you, so that they are operating and you are generating income. And through that, we also offer access to advanced material where we show you the techniques that we're using to get you those results so that you can grow your portfolio, down the line or in the process of that, if that's what you're interested in. And the second program that we offer is we will build you a $1 million portfolio in 3 to 6 months, and it will be 97% hands off. So like we said, like the cost of figuring it out yourself is a lot more than the cost of paying somebody that has proven strategies, that has proven success, to teach you, for you to learn from. So like I can tell you we have testimonials on testimonials on testimonials from students actually doing this and being successful. And we're here telling you, based on all of our experiences, everything that we have gone through, full transparency, everything we've gone through, and not only the horror stories, but the solutions to those horror stories. So I can tell you, like, mirroring what we're doing, allowing us to teach you, you're going to get those same results.
And then I think on the first one, I don't know. I think Tina forgot to mention, if you don't have a place yet, we will get you your first place.
Oh,
so
yes.
So just sliding that part in, because I think we sometimes assume that everyone, has a place. But if you don't have your first place and you're interested in getting started, that first program gets you your first place. That second program gets you. So that second program gets you
the $1 million portfolio.
Yeah, however many places it takes to get you that $1 million portfolio. 97% hands-free for you. We Jim's team, and Jim, we do all the work for you. So those are the two programs we're offering right now. If you're interested in more information, our next challenge, let me make sure I confirm those dates for you guys. I do not want to give you the wrong dates. We just finished up our last challenge. Our next challenge is November 28th. So that is a Tuesday. November 28th is when our next challenge is. So if you want to join that challenge, keep a lookout. I believe in our, I think it's in the comments or the description underneath this live. If you come back tomorrow, and then in our other YouTube videos, there's a link to join that challenge. So if you want to join the challenge, there should be a link here by tomorrow. And then you can always reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, and come join us for our next one. Spots are limited. Again, like we said, these programs aren't just unlimited, whoever wants to join. Jim does hand select. Again, spots are limited. The last challenge, we weren't even letting anybody in our second program, because the spots were just full. So if you are interested in that, reach out to us or sign up for our next challenge.
Yeah. And there are a couple more questions that I'm seeing now, that I just want to go over quickly, because we have talked about them. So we've done a couple of lives up until this one. We talked about a lot of things. The first one we talked about formula and some of the things that are important to know about formula. The second live, we talked about the myths of Airbnb. where we do also get into formula and the cost of not understanding formula, not um, going about finding a place based on a formula, based on our formula. We do have a formula. It's what we do everything by. Formula drives everything is our motto. And I see a comment on here that talks about the best place to pick up an Airbnb. And that's a myth. That's a myth. There is not there one place is not better than another to pick up an Airbnb. It's all about formula.
Yeah, I think what I can tell you is what a lot of people think is the best place is probably one of the worst places. I think everybody, like, when they think Airbnb or short-term rental, they think, tourist attractions like Disney or things like that. And we are
that also means everything is a lot more expensive, right? So it probably doesn't make sense. Even though it has all these attractions and all these things to do, it's probably super, super expensive. And if you don't know formula, you will think that paying that is okay because people will come. That is true, but you won't make any money doing it.
correct.
So, um, so our past lives, definitely go back and watch them because we run through all of these things. And Jay, we will also talk to you on the platform. So put your message on the platform, and if the videos that we have available to you have not answered your question, we will get more in depth with you on the platform. Okay. And then I see Perlita. She left a comment about the programs. Did that answer your question? I'm not sure if you're still here or not, but we did talk about the two programs that we offer. The first one is we will get you your first place. If you have a place, we will still get you a first place from us. And then we will co-host on your listings and optimize your listings so that they're operating and generating money and generating income. And we will also be showing you techniques, advanced techniques that we don't show everybody, so that you can upgrade and add to your portfolio, build your own portfolio yourself.
And that includes like your management systems, like, helping you figure those out. I'm giving you some tips and tricks. So that's program one, the inner circle.
Yeah, that's the inner circle. And the second program is Wealth B&B. And that is where we build you $1 million portfolio in 3 to 6 months, where you will be 97% hands off, which means we do it all. Well, at least 97%. There are still systems in there that will need to be done, but as far as what you will have to do, we have a student now who picked up how many places was it? 4, 5, I think it's like 25, 30 listings without having to do anything. Didn't talk to a landlord, didn't do a walkthrough, didn't sign any leases because he's in our Wealth B&B program. And that's pretty amazing. I don't know about you all, but I think that's pretty amazing. And so those are the two programs that we offer. If you're interested in that or hearing more, leave a comment under this video and we will reach out to you. We will get you the information that you need. But we will also talk to you on the challenge. So I recommend, if you have any other questions, if you are interested in any of that, that you are on the next challenge. And that link we will put in the comments after this live is finished. And then for everybody else, I see you on here. Great questions. Put them on the platform because we can get into more. We can get more in depth because I know we've talked to you about some of this stuff before. So whatever you're not sure about, put it in the platform and we will answer it for you tonight. Okay. Other than that, thank you all for joining us. Ike, Jay, Tony, Perlita, who else is here? Angel, April. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you the rest of the weekend next Monday.
Good night, guys.
God bless you all.